Hi, welcome to Dan Demo Drum Lessons. Welcome back. This lesson we're going to do more rudiments, and we are looking at flam rudiments. Flams are very cool and you will use them a lot, especially in drum kit work in just about every musical context. They're really popular if you're playing heavier music, so if you're playing like metal or especially hard rock sort of thing, they give that fat sound, and that is essentially what a flam is. It's a very close together double hit that's almost indistinguishable, so that you can actually get that really fat sound. Okay, so many of these were in the original 26, but there have been some additions to those particular flam rudiments when we created the 40, but again, very popular. So let's talk about what a flam is. A flam is a double stroke that is squished together, and there's a tiny little musical note written out. That's called a grace note, and lots of instruments have grace notes. Pianos, guitars, lots of tuned instruments use grace notes. But we also have it in drums, and the reason we have it in drums is we create this thing called a flam, which gives it a fat sound. So how do we make this fat sound really close together hit? Well, it's the sticking. Okay, so if I'm doing a right-handed flam, the left stick is just above an inch or two, 2-3 inches maybe above the drum or the pad, whatever you're using. This one is quite high. And the idea is, if you swing them down at the same time, you get this flam sound. Now, if you're seeing my sticks, you can see what the sticks are doing. You can probably hear the little double hit, especially on a pad that has very quick decay in the sound. When you hit it on a drum and you've got a little bit of sustain in the sound, you do tend to get that louder sound, basically. That sounds fat, sounds like one hit, but actually, as you can see, and it's rare, like we'll see in the rudiments, that you'll actually hit two flams in a row. Normally it'll be that and then some single hits and flam single hits, and that may be between the bass drum, the foot, and what you're doing with your sticks as well. But let's look at it as a set of rudiments. So we're in section 3 now, flam rudiments. So, simple flam, you've just seen how to do it. Let's do it to a beat. Couple of things to look out for when you're doing flams. Try and make it sound like one. Do not do this. Okay? Should sound like one hit. Because the grace note is so close to the main note, sound like one hit. Okay? That in itself will probably take you ages of practice trying to get that flam right. I've been drumming a long time, it's second nature, becomes muscle memory, it will do for you as well. Okay? So that is the flam. It gives that fat sound because there's a grace note right before the main note, and that produces that flam sound. Okay. Next one is the Flam Accent. Okay, so right flam, then left right, then left flam. Quite an interesting sound, that one, and it is one of those ones that you will probably use in drum fills when you're doing drum kit work in things like rock and pop music. So it's worth learning the Flam Accent. It's also quite a common usage of the flam. Often flams are put at the beginning of a musical phrase. So okay, so you could have that sort of thing going on. Next one, Flam Tap. Again, very common in drum fills when you're playing drum kit work in pop music, rock music, etc. But it is right flam right, left flam left, right flam right, left flam left. One thing I should mention actually for these first three as well is the flam is accented, and 9 times out of 10 you will notice the flam is often accented. That said, there are a few exceptions to that in here, and there can be exceptions when you're playing as well. Okay, but this one, Flam Tap. So right, right, left, right flam, left flam, left flam. And this one often can be swung. It's quite popular in sort of big bands and jazz contexts, you know. So rather than playing it straight, it can be swung. Da 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 da. But we're playing it as written, which is straight. Okay, so right flam right, left flam left, right flam right. Okay, next one. Remember I talked about flams being accented? Well, here's the first one where it is not. And this is actually a very difficult rudiment to do, let alone flam rudiment to do. Okay, so right flam, left, right, left. And then a right flam. Now the difficulty with this is you've just learnt in the previous three to accent your flams. Here we've got to make the flam quiet, which means that grace note and the main note is not going to be so high anymore, it's going to be a lot closer. Okay? So okay, really hard not to accent those flams. Okay, so that is the flam and the cue. Okay, flam and cue is really, really difficult to play and to get that accent in the right spot and not accent those flams. That will take an enormous amount of practice to get it at any sort of pace. Next one, very, very popular thing to play, again in rock and other contexts, the Flam Paradiddle. So, paradiddle, just a reminder of a previous lesson, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Okay, this is a flam at the beginning. Okay. Okay, so right, left, right, right, left, right. So that is the Flam Paradiddle. Next one is the single flammed mill. Again, a very unorthodox, very difficult to play rudiment. Okay, and it is a right flam, right, left, left flam, left, right, left. The difficulty comes from the fact that you've got to do your flam and then go straight into the notes with the same stick. You don't have that right to left alternation that you normally have when you're playing rudiments. So a very difficult one to play. Right. In fact, I'll play that last one right. So, Very, very difficult one to play, the single flamed mill. Okay, I think in the interest of you having time to play and go through that, we'll leave that lesson there. Remember, practice your flams, get them even first, so they sound like one hit. Okay, then practice the flam being accented. Okay, and then practice something like the Flam where the flam is not accented. Okay, so lots to practice there. You could literally go for weeks on this lesson before you can progress. Okay, so I hope that has introduced the world of flams to you. Next time we do rudiments, we'll do the second half of section 3, which is the remaining flam rudiments. I hope you have a really good week, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.